One of the biggest things that we talk about in men's group is the giving of fire. And really, this is all about the sense of how we support one another as men, and fire breeds fire. And so, when we're thinking about this fire, there is this undertone or perception, perhaps, that is when we start talking about fire, we immediately think that we have permission to be a dick. And quite frankly, it's not as simple as that, because when we think about alchemy and the flames to which we create separation, the idea is to give a man fire is the sense that you want him to move forward in life. You give him just enough heat, the right amount of heat, that he can basically create and cultivate his own inner fire and move forward in life. So when we're thinking about giving fire, there is this sense that you want to have it in your mind, how is this man stuck? How is this man playing small? How is his ego, the shadows and the inner dialogue that keeps him stuck, keeps him small, berates himself, or destroys his ways of connecting with other people or connecting with his higher potential? Really, it is about bringing fire to that. So an example of this could be a man that hides, a man that hides often. You don't need to berate him and say, hey, you're hiding again, though that is one way. Because really, it's such an easy way for that ego to latch on to that man's perception of what you are attacking. Rather than attacking or bringing fire to the part of him that makes him disconnect from himself, from his higher self, from others, or really from his potential. So when we're thinking and considering about giving fire to this man who has a tendency to hide, what you will need to say to him is, I want to bring fire to the part of you that has a tendency to hide. I want to bring fire to that part of you because that is the part that keeps you stuck, and I want to see you move forward. I want to see you move forward in life, and that means that your tendency to play small, your tendency to hide does not serve you, and I want you to be liberated. So fuck you, the part of you that hides. You played its purpose. I see where you needed or you felt the need to come into this world and protect this man. But no longer are you required, at least here. So I want to see you show up, and I give you permission to show up in whichever way that is, whatever way that means to you in terms of showing up or not hiding. In the exact same way of a man being addicted, you don't need to castrate a man for his addiction, his tendency to fill the void, right? This tendency for a man to fill his needing or this inner void to do things and keep on going and going and going to the next thing, the addicted lover. So in this way, or any sort of addiction, I'll get to the addicted lover in a second. But this is where you need to bring fire, not to cook the man, not to basically shame him or bring so much flame and fire that you basically burn him to a pulp or burn him to ashes. You just want to bring enough fire to heat and create separation to that part of him that does not serve him. And so this is where, and I alluded this to the addicted lover, this is where an awareness around your archetypes, your masculine archetypes, can be really handy. Not only in the way of establishing what you are bringing fire to, but furthermore and more importantly, you can have a shared language. I want you to move into your highest potential, your full masculine lover. And so this way in which you are consumed by the addicted lover does not serve you. So I'm going to bring some fire and light to that part of you that does not serve you any longer. I want you to move forward and up into the mature masculinity. And this addicted lover, this shadow of this archetype, is what is keeping you stuck. And so I'm going to bring some fire to that. What are you disconnecting from? What void are you trying to fulfill? And this goes with the other archetypes. The lover being the addicted lover, which is the active shadow. So the man will need to soften, and so therefore bringing flames to his identity or his needing to fill the void. Coming back over into the impotent lover, the passive side of the lover archetype. And so therefore you're needing to bring some fire so that he moves up and actually starts reaching out and connecting, connecting to his body, connecting to other things around him. The magician, in the way of the active shadow, the detached manipulator, this way of manipulating and creating a too much of a power struggle in his own knowledge, his own self-righteousness. Or in the passive side, the innocent denying one, where this man is innocent, he hides again. But really this way of bringing fire and stoking the flames to passive, or bringing fire to create separation so he can soften. Again, the warrior and the king. And so obviously knowing more and more about these archetypes, but really it is coming back to removing the archetypes, if that's not your jam, is what are the ways that a man keeps stuck? What are the ways in which a man is not showing up in his full potential? That is what you are bringing fire to. And I cannot state this enough and really emphasize the importance that it is important that fire is not just a permission slip to be a dick, to not just castrate a man or create an inner dynamic of your own warrior. I'm being a warrior, so I'm going to bring some fire to this man. Well, be mindful that you don't swing into the sadist, which is the attacking over fire, the flamethrower, the tyrant of the king. But also not saying anything on the passive side, where the weakling or the masochist, where you know that you could say something to a man, that you could call him up, but in which way does your own growth come into this? And so every single man is going to have their own individual flavor of this, because it resembles our own growth edges as men that have been passed down to us from our fathers and forefathers. And even whether it's passed down directly, an angry father creates an angry son, and an angry son creates, another angry son. Or we can swing where the overbearing father can turn into the weakling son. Everyone is going to have their own growth edges and their own experience and their own definitions of what it is to be a man and what is their potential and what it is that they're seeking in life. And how men can support other men. Again, fire breeds fire. Earth and groundedness can really create a centeredness. That is the masculine power. And women can bring this too, but be mindful that, again, there are benefits to men bringing this message forward. I think too much emphasis or too much of the burden of men's mental health or men's support networks has come too much from women, because our men have removed their own responsibility in this space. However, staying on topic of this sense of bringing fire. When you want to bring fire, ask yourself, how is this man keeping himself stuck? What is keeping him stuck? And how can I highlight that stuckness in the most authentic and beneficial to him, and assimilate with my own growth edge Do I have a tendency to play small, or do I have a tendency to be overbearing with my advice? How can I bring a tempered flame, a loving flame? And be mindful that the ego is going to affect the result of this. Your own ego, I need to be heard, versus the man's getting the feedback. His ego will like, why are you attacking me? Why do you bully me? But these ways of the ego jumping in and grabbing onto whatever it can, this is the issue. And so that is what we're trying to create separation from. It is the observing self, the benefit, the higher self, whatever you want to call it, the inner knowing, which is light, which is liberating, which is energetic. You know, it gives you energy when you're in your observing self, versus when you are in your shame story, when you are in your ego, it feels heavy, it feels sticky, it feels consuming, it drains your energy. And so those are very great measuring sticks of how this comes about. So I really hope this helped in this video. I really hope that gives you an understanding of what fire is. And by all means, ask any questions around fire or give your personal experience to this. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Cheers.